I don't really know how to start this. I don't really recall what age I was. I don't suppose you do when you think back to an early memory. I must have been between 3 and 6 though, because it had definitely happened by the time I was 7, because I remember loosely my father and uncle talking to me about it around that age. Anyways, the story starts at my grandparents' house. They live alongside what was an old railway line, in a house with a pretty big garden that me, my sister, and all my cousins loved to play in as kids. It's a closed-off garden. You have the embankment to the railway on one side, and fencing/housing to the other, with the exception of 2 gates, one that leads out to their front garden/the street, and one that leads to a back alley. As a child, I used to love running down the back alley. My mum or dad would always walk the adjacent street, and we would meet at the end where they led onto a bigger road. It wasn't the safest area. Still isn't, although it's mostly petty crimes and the rare mugger. So, it was no big deal. I'd leave through Nan's back gate, and they'd leave through the front. I used to love the back alley. Really, it's just full of junk and cats. But as a kid, that stuff was great. Until one day anyways. I'd just left Nan's, and was doing my usual walk, keeping an eager eye out for a chubby cat to befriend, or a bit of wood or something to carry, when I saw this man. I don't think I was scared then. I'd seen people in the alley before. Most of the houses on the street had back entrances to the alley, and it wasn't uncommon for me to see someone smoking round the back or putting out some old junk, so I just walked on. Then he grabbed my arm. I remember looking up at him, in his leather jacket with this weird little beard. He wasn't a big man looking back, maybe 5'5", pretty thin, not really the kind you'd ever bat an eyelid at as an adult, but as a tiny kid, he was what nightmares were made of. He said something to me along the lines of, "You are coming with me." I don't recall exactly what his words were. I think I was in a panic, to be fair. I did what any kid in the 90s would have done after seeing a PSA thing in school. I screamed my head off. I remember calling for Mum. I knew she couldn't be too far down the street. He grabbed my face. I can't recall if he properly covered my mouth, or if he just held my cheeks in, but I stopped shouting. That is when it happened. The most brave thing I had ever seen. My then 50-something Nan came barreling out of her garden, through the back gate, brandishing either a broom or a rake or a mop or something with a long wooden handle. She just came thundering over, all 5 foot of her, swinging whatever utensil she had in her hand at this creep, raining down on him with it. He let go, dropping me to the ground, and ran down the alley like a man possessed. I don't recall ever crying so much or so hard in my life than in the moments after, when she picked me up off the ground, took my hand, and walked me to the street. My mum hadn't heard me, but she knew something had been up when she'd gotten to the end of the road and I wasn't there. She was on her way back down the street when we saw her. She didn't see the man run off. nor has she ever really spoken about that day since. With the exception of my dad and uncle talking to me about the danger I could have been in when we walked down the alley around Christmas 1997. No one really brought it up for years. For a while, I thought it had maybe been a nightmare, though one day, about 6 or 7 years back, I was in Nan's garden with one of my young cousins, and I noticed the gate was boarded up from the garden end. Must have been like it for years, though I'd never really paid much attention to it. I asked Nan why, concerned maybe because someone had tried to break in. She looked at me as if I was an idiot and said, "Because of the man who tried to take you." We've talked about it since. She still remembers a lot of it. Said she was on her way to the alley anyways because I'd left a toy on her kitchen counter, and then she had heard me screaming. She thought a neighborhood dog had gotten down the alley and was scaring me or something. She never thought she'd see what she did. I guess flight or fight just kicked in for her then. Long story short, my Nan is amazing and likely saved my life. Nasty old paedophile, let's not meet again. Hello everyone, SinisterShaf here. This story was My Close Call by SpecialHands. Thank you for letting me narrate your story. If you enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Also, if you can, share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching. And, as always, stay sinister.